My fellow Americans, it is I, the ghost of Abraham Lincoln, here to tell you yet again that this podcast is rated E for explicit. Ultimately, I think you know that by now. In fact, the last time they hired me to do this, it didn't turn out so well for me. You know, a lot of people underestimate how fragile ghosts are. But I'll tell you, I enjoy a good naughty word or two. I'm not fragile in my sensibilities, if you know what I mean. I can handle the potty talk. And these gentlemen, they bring a great substance to my... Oh, not again.
Welcome back to another thrilling installment of Go Folk Yourself podcast, an American podcast. This week we're taking a divergence from our state-centered episodes onto a deep dive into a different folkloric topic. Tonight you've got Brett on the mic, accompanied by
Dan.
Just kidding.
It's not Dan. He's not here.
It's Ethan.
And Nick. It's going to be a good one, guys.
That's right. You have the top talent of GFY
right.
talking about stuff you love.
Yeah,
boy.
Woo!
We've upgraded from, depending on when we release these, this is the A team.
That's right.
Yeah, it is.
A minus, but still A.
Still A?
A gentleman's A.
A gentleman's A. A minus. That's right.
Based on all the feedback that we got around our episode about the forest in folklore, we decided to take a look at another theme in folklore. And that turned into something really weird. And I hope that you enjoy this. Yeah. So come as we take a look at the sea in folklore.
Bela Lugosi.
That was
He's
pirate.
That right. Never mind.
Yeah, that wasn't Bella.
Sorry.
Bella would be like, "Go fuck yourself podcast."
The sea.
That was the sea.
Oh.
Nick, give me your best pirate.
I'm low on vitamin C.
That's good.
Perfect.
That's great.
Give me orange juice.
That's good. I've got the scurvy.
Scurvy.
It's lonely, all of these boys.
Oy. So we're talking about the sea. What is, you know what?
What is the
What
sea?
is the sea?
Well, it's
Brett?
before B.
No, it's after B.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.
So what are we, after B?
You had one job.
Jeez.
I'm illiterate, everybody.
Yep.
This is
Victor, cut that out. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
So what is the sea?
It's before B.
Damn it. All right, we'll just roll
We'll
with
just keep it. Yeah. So it's after B or before B, depending on which language.
it. Brett uses the other alphabet.
Right. Yeah.
I made it myself.
Opposite.
Old Scratch's alphabet.
Old Scratch himself. So what? The sea. That's not rivers.
That's not. It's like a long, big river.
Right. It's not. So a lake.
Which is a stretched out.
Right.
Or wait, no, that's a
it's
circular
like a
river.
pond,
Sure.
but bigger?
Right.
Yes.
So the sea, that would be the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, that's one of them. One of the 7 seas, the Gulf of Mexico.
The Aegean.
Another
the Aegean.
one. Mediterranean.
The Indian.
Sea.
Right.
Pacific.
My grade point
C.
average in business school.
Sea.
Sorry, Mom.
So the sea.
Yes.
We're talking about the mythos of the sea.
Yeah, the allure and the call to the sea.
Right.
Like Moana.
Like
Yes,
Moana.
Exactly like Disney's Moana.
In fact, let's just knock out Moana real quick.
Right now.
Like
Polynesian
the big rock.
Travelers. It's good stuff. There's a fertility goddess that's great. Love it.
Good stuff. Love it.
Yeah, that
So
funny chicken.
I love that
chicken.
Kids love it.
My
Can't get enough.
my favorite sea creature. Moana's funny chicken. So where have they, once again, Brett made some killer notes.
Oh, thank you.
So we're going to be going off with some notes. So everyone open up your books to Brett's notes.
Yeah, I made it all handwritten for everybody because I don't know how computers work.
Using his imaginary alphabet.
That's
he just
right.
kept writing the letter C for it.
C.
Oh, wow. Great.
I love the C.
C.
So, yeah, I think what a good, interesting topic would be, as we discuss the forest in folklore and mythology,
Right.
Would be to explore a different area of the world, which is the sea and ocean, because there's a shitload of folklore and superstition and practice, and, stemming from it.
So I figured today, once again, we're going to be keeping it pretty Western. We're going to be talking Europe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where my area of expertise is.
Right.
So that's what my research was done on.
Right. The U.S. We might
U.S., England, Europe. Maybe,
Yeah.
Who knows?
we might touch.
We might get a little bit to Guam, maybe.
Maybe,
we might touch
maybe.
about Guam a smidge because we know about that.
Yeah.
Maybe some Japanese sea stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's
maybe?
some good Japanese stuff there.
Yeah.
So by the West, we really mean global seas.
Yeah. So if you're thinking we're going to be talking about Polynesian seas,
Yeah.
we probably won't talk about that a lot.
Not yet. But, depending on how this goes, maybe we'll go into it and do a, sea around the world.
So just spoilers.
See you later is what we'll call it.
That's our new podcast. See you later.
Yeah. This is
It's so much better than Barbacast.
I miss Barbacast.
I do too.
North American theme.
Yeah.
Also, which is heavily influenced by Western civilization.
Of course.
So that's got to go into it because our folklore and mythology is based on the continuation of Western folklore and mythology.
Yep.
Because we're just a byproduct of Europe over here. So you're going to get some tie-ins there.
Exactly.
But what is it about the sea that brings people, curiosity and like maybe a longing or yearning? What do you guys think it is?
Nick, you go first.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to think about like the sea as a whole because similarly to like we said with the forest, it probably represented a lot of unknown, but more so than the forest almost would be the sense of truly unknown. Like I don't know what happens beyond my borders. Like you can at least kind of trust the forest. Like there's going to be more earth over there. But, depending on what time period we're talking about, it literally could have been anything. Sometimes they knew, after this island, there's another island, maybe however far away.
Yeah.
But depending on where you are, maybe there's not. Maybe I just, who knows what I'm going to find out.
Yeah, traveling along a coastline,
Yeah.
pretty safe, pretty, reliable, you know where you are. But when you get beyond that, where does it go?
Right. I enjoy the idea of this being the sequel to the
No, the sequel.
No, God damn it. I did not even mean that.
I did.
To the Woods episode, because unlike the Woods with the sea, you can just look out and see everything. Yeah.
God, you're a fountain
You're
of
just killing it
perfect.
tonight.
I am. I'm killing it. No, but like the woods, everything is obscured at a certain point.
Right.
But with the water, you guys have seen the ocean. It's terrifying.
It's
because-
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
But it's just, you can see absolutely everything, and yet at the same time, nothing, because it's all,
oh yeah,
beneath it.
it's like
a lot
a
of ways.
weird liminal space where like it's inhospitable, but yet has abundant resources,
Right.
or at least used to.
Yeah.
And now it's filled with garbage.
Oh.
But,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that's
We'll
true.
get heavy later.
Yeah.
For right
Oh.
now, let's go swimming.
Yeah. Yay.
This episode brought to you by Leslie's Pool Supplies.
So yeah, it's a area that's filled with mystery. It's a thing that is inhospitable, but you can still retrieve resources from. It's a place where you can make a living, but can also fucking kill you.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Immediately. It's something that you have to have a healthy respect and boundary for.
Yeah. And yet
College.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's good.
Yeah. What about let's see, one of your notes here is talking about in mythology
Yeah, of course.
/ literature. Holy smokes, we've got a lot to talk about there.
There's a lot to unpack. I mean, obviously, it's something that we've had a intrinsic relationship since, written history, and even before that with oral history, because people made their livings and used it for trade, used it for food, literally anything. We've had a very complicated relationship with the sea for as long as there have been people near it, because it's something that you can, again, harvest for fish. You can use it for commerce purposes. You can use it for just travel.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's something that's unpredictable. And especially to early people, there's a lot that goes into understanding how the weather is going to be, which is you can't predict it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think when you look at, through the lens of literally any history textbook or course or anything, there's such a marked difference in human exploration and just like our experience really when they go from being like, okay, I kind of stay where I am, maybe I'll be nomadic around the lands, but like I don't go out there.
Right.
And then they do eventually. They're like, well, what if we have these tools? Let's, this floats. What if we float on it?
Right. I think probably with mythology, probably one of the biggest ones, the Odyssey, right?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, because of it's man's journey across the sea, and he's literally accosted pretty much everywhere he goes.
Every time,
and like
the whole time, he's just like
something new and worse than the last thing that accosted
yeah,
him.
yeah, absolutely.
And like it's the journey to go home.
Yeah,
is the big theme of that story, which is interesting because like a lot of times like the sea is seen as like this big high adventure, or at least it is in like later literature, but in early mythological sources and early written text, like in the Odyssey, it's a dangerous thing, and it's an adversary. But that's kind of thematically true throughout all mythology and literature, bridging in with the sea, because it's both. It's always going to be both.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something terribly mysterious and horrifying. It's interesting because in so many different stories about the ocean and the mystery of the sea, it's often about these creatures that are beneath it. That come up and swarm you. And yet it's also about the water itself.
The temperature, the lack of, like, you're surrounded by water, but you can't drink it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking...
It's poisonous to you.
Yeah.
Like a truly Tantalus kind of tale where it's like you have everything, but you have literally nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is just so bizarre.
Yeah.
Because, like, with the woods, I mean, it's not like the woods are going to,
the woods don't kill you.
The woods don't kill
What's
you.
in the woods kills you.
Right.
Exactly. But with, stories of the sea, I mean, it could be a storm and it would,
There's storms in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And
yeah, exactly. It'd fuck you up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just, the sea itself, but it's what lives there.
Right.
Because there's the beasts, there's the sirens in the Odyssey that call you to their island to crash on the rocks.
Yeah.
God, those crafty manatees.
Yeah, sexy, fuckable manatees.
Yeah. And then there's the whole, what if, you see another, say you're out on the sea and you're sailing your boat and shit, and you see another boat.
That could be another thing that is bad.
Then we're dipping into the Flying Dutchman, shit like that.
Oh, we're going to get to that. Don't you worry.
God, I love SpongeBob.
Yeah. So definitely water. Scary stuff, folks.
Definitely. And it's not just in like written mythology too. Like obviously you've also got a lot of like creation myths do involve the sea as well. I'm like, as you guys know, practicing occultist polytheist fellow, so I do enjoy looking at like mythological origins too, beyond like what is written down. And you've got a lot like, here, I'll give you a good example. Like in Celtic mythology, the sea has a huge part in how Celtic mythology unfolds, because literally the people that settled Ireland had to come there from somewhere. It's a fucking island.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
they came from the sea.
Yeah.
So all of their gods have some tie into the sea in the beginning. And when you look at another great example, Greek mythology.
I was gonna say, I find it interesting that all these different cultures are they have these gods tied to the sea. But I've always felt like with Greek mythology, so many other mediums try to just match it, where it's like, oh, you have like heaven god, hell god, and then water god off to the side. And I always thought that was so odd that water god is like his or her own thing.
Why is that? Why do you find that odd?
Because you would think that, like, heaven doesn't necessarily exist, right?
Right.
Hell, same way, right? The water is there.
Right.
Like, you've got it. So
And-
it's odd that they put it in the same belief system. That
Well, it's something that's ever present, though.
Yep.
And in like a lot of polytheist frameworks, especially in like pre-Christian stuff,
right.
one of the main things about the gods involved is that they're limited. First of all, that they don't have omnipotent power. Like that's a feature of monotheism and not polytheism.
They have their domain that they specialize in, and that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're in an island nation like Ireland, like the Greek Isles,
Right.
it's an ever-present thing. thing. So like you may not. You're obviously if you're a desert locked country, you're probably not going to have a sea god.
No.
You may have a god of rain, but not the sea because that may be a foreign concept to you. But it's something that like touches you and interacts with you. So perpetuate or like trying to appease it through practice and forcing good luck through offerings and things like that.
Yeah.
Not to me super weird.
Right.
And like you think in like Greek mythology, you've got Poseidon. His domain is the sea.
Yeah.
And it's somebody, to me, it makes sense that you would want to give offerings to that person.
Right.
Were you to try to ensure a safe journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, especially if you look at it through, like, put yourself in their shoes where, okay, I know a few things. I know there's something that had to give us the beginning and something like a positive end. So whatever the heaven equivalent would be. And then you have, the hell equivalent. So you've got your Zeus, you've got your Hades. And then these are both things that they're like, we're confident they're there, but we don't know them. We don't really have control over them. So like Brett said, like, that's sort of the idea of appeasing them and keeping them pleased. I mean, in that same vein, if you're in the Greek Isles, you're looking around and so much of your livelihood is going to be dependent on the ocean and you can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they're obviously not diving more than 10 feet, 20 feet.
Right.
So, however literally long you can hold your breath.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can't see what's going on below and they know that some storm is waiting to just wreck their ships or something. So to them, it's as mysterious as a heaven or a hell. So
That's
like
a good
to
point.
me,
Yeah.
like I kind of thought about it through that lens because I used to be all about it. Like when I was learning about it first in school, like it was just fascinating to me that, like you said, like so many of these gods have like their domains. Like you look at like an Aphrodite or whoever, and you're like,
She's
okay,
still tied to
that
the
makes
sea
sense.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like, I see where these are coming from. These are things that they're interacting with. But then you see almost the top tier gods, if you were to put it like Smash characters. So you've got the heavy hitters where you're like, yeah, I see why they're the top tier. And then you think about like Poseidon, and you're like, yeah, that has a lot of bearing on their life, and they have literally no control over it.
God, that's true.
Yeah. And like pretty much every religion or pre-Christian, like polytheist religion that has like a touch to the sea has their own version of like a sea god.
Yeah.
And a lot of times like their domains overlap. So like in Celtic mythology, you have Manannan, who is the god of the sea.
Oh.
And it's pretty cool. They actually have there's a modern day statue to him that you can look up. So if you guys are interested in that, you can find that using Bing.
Just Bing it.
Yeah, just Bing it. He is a part of his feature set is that he is in a sea-borne chariot that actually rides over the waves.
What?
Yeah, so like horses plus the sea.
Yeah.
Pretty common tie-in, like with the
Right.
waves coming in and crashing in the
Kelpies
sea.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Kelpies, great example of like a water-based folklore monster.
Yeah.
You've got in like the Norse pantheon, you've got Njord, who is again like the god of the sea, which is fantastic. He also kind of covers seafaring, fishing, like agriculture, fertility, because again, there's things from the sea that promote that, which is interesting. Even though it's like something that would you would think be kind of poisonous to it, but the things that come out of the sea very nutrient rich. So
Right.
it all kind of goes together.
Even in like our own more modern folk tales, if you will, like I mean, looking through comic books, you have Namor, the Submariner. You have Aquaman. Like all of these people. Like
I did not expect you to lead with
fucking
Namor.
submarine.
Namor,
Who's that?
the submarine. He's Marvel's Aquaman, right?
Oh, I didn't know they had their own Aquaman.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, he fits right into the mythology where they're like I think his dad is Poseidon or some
Yeah,
shit.
something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
funny.
So we even still tell these kind of stories. They're very different, and we don't look at it in that tangible sense, but they're still larger than life characters that we kind of look to. I mean, hell, Aquaman just had a movie that did really, really well.
That's true.
Yeah,
Comparatively.
Yeah.
I've seen that one. It was enjoyable.
It had the man from Game of Thrones in it.
It
and
did.
Good.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen that. I don't even know if that movie's out yet.
Yeah, it came out last year
Yeah,
or early this year, something like that.
Brett, super behind on the comic book movies
Nice.
as always.
As per usual.
Yeah, of course.
But like the themes of the sea's importance don't just stop with mythology. It goes from like oral tradition into written tradition, and there's like themes of discussing the sea as like a thing all the way up into like present day, obviously included. but you've got stories from like the Middle Ages where it's still part of the human experience.
Yeah.
For those Arthurian nerds out there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I know you're out there, and I know you listen to this shit.
Two guys over there.
There's actually a Sir Tristan story from the Romance of Tristan and Iseult, where he goes to find the lost land of Lyonesse, which is said to have sunk into the sea.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys
Like
have ever heard of that one, but
No,
it's like
I've
kind of
never.
like an Atlantean story,
Yeah.
but tied into the Arthurian romantic cycle. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I that's one of those that I actually forgotten. I'm actually a huge Arthurian nerd.
Yeah.
And love reading that stuff. Like it's part of like something that I like. You know, like when you were saying, Nick, that you got into mythology through like Greek gods. I got into mythology through the Arthurian myths.
That's actually really cool. Now I'm gonna have to read that.
It's great.
Yeah,
If you
nice.
like Greek mythology, you'd probably enjoy the Arthurian stuff. It's very heavily Christian lensed, but it's still very enjoyable. And if you guys like things like Game of Thrones, or,
Game of Thrones.
yeah, or
Never heard of it.
anything in pop culture that is like fantasy based,
Yeah.
Arthurian themes tie in, and it's cool to see that the sea ties into that too.
I dig it.
Yeah, so you got your medieval tie in there, and then obviously as you get it, past the age of exploration, you start getting into like the Age of Enlightenment, 19th century, huge literary themes there.
Yeah.
Because that was like using the sea is a vessel for now connecting the old world to the new world.
Right.
It's literally the only way that these areas could talk to one another.
Yeah.
Is by using the ocean. And it's something very dangerous, obviously, because traveling across half the fucking globe in a boat,
Yeah.
that has everything
Powered by wind. essentially.
yeah, exactly, is carrying everything that you need to not die
Yeah.
is dangerous.
That's super dangerous. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and like I wouldn't want to do that today.
no, God, no.
Let alone whenever you couldn't predict the weather, and B, freezers
I had no idea
didn't
where you were
exist.
going,
Yeah,
essentially.
using like stars and landmarks
Yeah.
to navigate.
Absolutely. It's easy to see how the different mythos could come out of that.
Yeah. Do you have is there any particular like book or story that comes to mind for you relating to this? Kind of moving into like a literary theme?
The one I always think of is the Flying Dutchman.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
The Flying Dutchman immediately.
Yeah. When it comes to stuff like that, it is because Wagner wrote this opera called The Flying
Of course
Dutchman.
you have a music
Yeah,
tie-in to
and it's fucking good. And I like the idea of a ghost ship. I've always
Yeah,
loved
of course.
like you remember Wind Waker? Legend
Yeah.
of Zelda Wind
loved
Waker?
it.
Yeah.
There was the ghost ship you'd occasionally see. That blew my
Yeah.
mind as a kid.
Yeah.
Plus, being from Florida, it was always interesting hearing about different
Right.
ghost ships and things like that.
And it's interesting. Like the theme of the ghost ship is like
A
nearly
cursed
universal.
crew. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is nearly universal.
And
it pops up over and over again in all these.
I read a very interesting article actually probably a couple weeks ago now that was kind of trying to explain like
Yeah.
the origins of the ghost ship.
Oh,
And
cool.
Did you know that there is a type of mirage that is in effect on the open ocean involving a ship near the horizon line, which actually makes the ship appear above the horizon line?
oh,
Like
shit.
floating over
Like
it.
floating above it, because it's the way that the light reflects off of the water.
Wow.
And it's something that people like have seen historically and before like science.
So, yeah, I could see them going like, oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck that shit. We ain't going over there.
Yeah.
That's that fucking ghost ship.
Oh, no. I've heard about that.
Not going anywhere near that.
We're just
guy.
going to go ahead and turn hard starboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I
That's
think.
right.
It
Because
is.
port is left.
Yeah, there's four letters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Port.
look at us, regular old salt.
So, yeah, I'm something of a pirate myself.
I'm a bit of a sea dog.
Yeah. So, yeah, probably ghost ships.
Ghost
If
ship. That's where you go.
Yeah, I point to the Flying Dutchman immediately, but
Yeah.
the concept of ghost ships I always thought tied in with horror
Oh,
and
yeah.
sea really well.
Oh yeah. How about you, Nick? Where's your head go to when you're thinking of like the ship and like stories like that?
If not the Odyssey, then usually like the Old Man in the Sea.
Okay, you go
Yeah.
to modern 20th century literature.
Oh,
with it.
hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I can get up on some Hemingway, dog.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What about you, Brett?
Oh gosh, Hemingway was probably going to be my choice as well.
Yeah.
But there's always something to me about like 19th century, early 20th century. My head goes immediately to Jules Verne.
Yep.
Yeah.
With like
Yeah.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, being in the Nautilus, exploring. Half of that book really fucking boring. The other because it's like a jerk off experiment and explaining what you can see using how many fucking fish and things Jules Verne knew. Because he's like, hey, look at how fucking smart I am as he strokes himself.
Yeah.
To his
Look, I
audience.
read an encyclopedia.
I'm a fucking genius. See, here's a fish and there's a fish.
And I could tell you its whole taxonomic name. But
and I will.
Fishiest fish.
Yep.
but like the concept of like having an underwater vessel that could travel like great distances and depths at a time where you couldn't
Yeah.
is just fascinating to me with like crazy weird steampunk technology.
Yeah, that kind of moves into the steampunk thing
Yeah.
with which then goes into like this is jumping way ahead, but
Yeah.
BioShock
Yeah.
I thought was
Ooh,
really
good.
interesting because it's
Oh yeah.
you're surrounded by this thing that could kill you at any moment.
Right.
That-
The mythos of BioShock is so good.
yeah, that
I
whole
love it.
there's a whole other thing we could do with
That's
Just
a whole
back.
episode.
Video game mythology.
So Brett, what about sea monsters? Should we move on to sea monsters?
Tons of sea monsters
Yeah.
out there. If I had to pick all-time favorite bad guy sea monster,
Yeah.
gotta be Jormungandr from Norse mythology,
I don't know who
Yeah,
that is.
that one's a new one for me.
the world serpent.
What?
So, yeah. So in Norse mythology, Loki is a shapeshifter, as
Right.
you guys know from watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe or general knowledge of Norse mythology, which is where my understanding of Loki comes from.
Right, Tom Hiddleston, of course.
And there's one thing that he loves other than pranking folks, and it's fucking weird things.
That's in the movies too.
Yep.
Is that in the movies? Is it
Yeah.
like fucking weird
Oh
things?
yeah. And Thor.
Loki and that night in the sea.
Yeah.
So he
It's a short.
he actually
It's disgusting.
that's horrible.
Yeah.
All right.
So he fathers a worm as a worm
Fuck?
himself, and
Oh.
so it grows to be like this enormous fucking size and goes to the bottom of the ocean where it has like unlimited access to food, and it gets to be so big that it actually circles the earth.
Really?
And it's one of the heralds of Ragnarok, so the end of the world that the it's called also the Midgard serpent,
Yeah.
and it will eventually be the thing that kills Thor.
Oh,
So like there's like stories of Thor fishing to try and catch him and drag him up from the bottom of the ocean because he's the strongest deity
Yeah.
and is the only thing capable of doing that. So in Ragnarok, Thor will actually kill the Midgard serpent, but it will in turn kill him.
In Ragnarok, Thor gets a really cool haircut.
He does look good with that haircut.
He really does. I'm not even upset.
I like short hair Thor more than long hair Thor.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
not as much as fat Thor.
Fat Thor gives me hope.
Yeah. I like Fat Thor.
So that's where my head goes with that. How about you, Nick? Favorite sea monster?
There's so many. I mean, like, I know everybody wants us to be like the Loch Ness Monster because it's right up the alley of this show. And I mean, to a degree, I kind of love it. I mean, it's one of the most non-monster monsters we have, like, in our realm and in our repertoire.
Yeah.
But the amount of, like, story inspiration and just like the way it has like really reached literally everybody is really, really cool to me. I mean, no matter how, sideshow-esque it becomes, it's just really cool that it is so wide-reaching and that everybody has something
Yeah.
that they can relate to it.
Yeah. Whether it's an ancient talking about Loch Ness Monster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking it's like an ancient dinosaur that's hung around.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I
It's
dig it.
fascinating. It's like really it captures the popular imagination. Like it's like Europe's Bigfoot,
Yeah.
Oh, so true.
That is the Bigfoot. Yeah. Because like everybody's got one.
Right. And I mean like
Everybody's got one big foot,
one Bigfoot, one lake monster, one sea monster, something. Like
Yeah.
in the unknown realms, where these things are said to have lived. And like, the Bigfoot is to the forest what the fucking Loch Ness monster is to the sea.
Yeah.
Like you can talk about, like you go back to New York, Vermont, you have Champ, and you're like, okay, cool. It almost reads like, we want a water monster too, because there's not like a ton about it. It's just like, we have a water monster, and then Vermont's like, no, we have that water monster, and it's just kind of like that tug of war. But the Loch Ness monster is something so much bigger, both in size and in
folklore.
Reach.
Yeah, that's true.
And one of the things that I like about like sea folklore also, and this is something that's always been something. Speaking of things that capture the imagination, the concept of like the pirate is always present in anything involving the ocean, because that's where like childlike imagination immediately drifts to, or at least with me, is talking about like the mythology and like the larger than life outlaw of the pirate. And it's such a good, like, even though they were definitely criminals and probably definitely deserved to be hung.
Who didn't,
Right. But like the idea of like a weird democratic, like truly democratic society,
absolutely,
on a boat.
Oh, it's great. And pirates are just they're so fun. It's like doesn't make a lot of sense, but in a way it does, because it's like, they live on the ocean and they go steal stuff from the monarchy or other merchants. Yeah, and it's like, so they're Robin Hood of kind of like sea people. Yeah, but like like whenever you like attack a boat, if you take all their shit, those people are probably gonna die. Yeah, they're dead, definitely.
I mean, even in like American history, you have John Paul Jones, one of the most
pirate
motherfuckers you can think of, and then we're like, do you want to lead our navy? And he's like, sure. And then he goes, fuck ye, and then he leaves.
That's so true.
Is it? Oh shit! What is? He has a very famous quote, doesn't he?
I bet I can find it. Let me see.
Oh god, John Paul Jones is a very interesting historical figure. Like we've got like American history plus the Navy is like laced with us being like, you know what, you're a fucking pirate, but like we're kind of new.
We're also rebels, so like why not?
Do you want to work with us?
Pirates are like, yeah, fine.
Like fucking the pirate that took over New Orleans.
Yes.
John LaFoot.
Absolutely.
Like so good.
I really feel like pirates and the Navy in general don't get enough credit when it comes to American history.
Oh yeah, like I mean, our Navy was important because we have a border ocean.
Yeah, exactly. So the only reason
two of them, really.
Yeah, the only reason we were able to like successfully rebel from Europe essentially is we knew they had to sail across a fuck all ocean, and that's
actually what it says in our American history books. And so King George III had to send his dudes across the fuck all ocean,
and like we essentially had unlimited supplies because we have this huge fertile land, and France was willing to trade with us, so we were like, fucking come at us, England.
Yeah.
Did you know that in 1923, FDR wrote a screenplay about John Paul Jones and sent it to the founder of Paramount Pictures, who politely rejected it?
No! What?
Thank you very much. Yes, I loved your grandfather as well, but we're going to bin this.
What? I would love to get my hands on that screenplay.
You said FDR.
Literally Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
In his spare time, wrote a fan fiction screenplay about John Paul Jones.
In 23, he was probably still in the...
It was 6 years before he took office.
Right. He was in politics then.
Yeah, so
how did the fucker have enough time?
That was when it was in between his time as the Assistant Secretary of the Navy and him becoming the 44th Governor of New York.
So in between, I had a summer off.
It was a 9-year stretch. So after 3 years into that 9-year stretch, he was like, man, I really loved being in the Navy. What if I wrote something about John Paul Jones? And he goes, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to become the longest lasting president.
I bet his wife was just so supportive of that.
I bet she was like, you know what, fine.
You know what, honey? Yeah, no one asked for a screenplay about John Paul Jones. But
here it is.
Hey,
and yet,
you know what? I choose to support you in this.
Right.
You know what? You don't do a lot of artistic things.
That's right.
Try it out.
Eleanor was like, fucking do it, man.
You're fucking operational minded. I get why boats appeal to you.
Yeah, I get it. I understand this.
Wild.
Before we go on, I just want to say, special shout out to Cthulhu.
Oh yeah,
Oh, so
of
true.
course, Lord of the Deep.
Please don't kill us.
Because you go nuts by looking at him.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I love that whole mythology because it's like you've got space tie-ins,
Yeah.
but like the closest thing that we have to space in our world is the ocean.
Yeah.
And I was
going
gonna say that, but I couldn't tell if that was stupid or not.
No, it's not.
Because it sounds so weird to say that, but it's true. This great big mysterious thing, and it's the closest thing to space we have, and yet it's the exact opposite of space.
Right, which is like the absence of anything.
Yeah,
And,
you know,
but it's still like the hostility of
Right.
the atmosphere, or I guess in space's case, the lack thereof.
Yeah.
It's still very similar.
and I read whenever I think of sea mythos in general, I think of this person I worked with back in high school who kept talking about mermaids and how mermaids could totally exist because
Was he a sailor?
he wasn't.
I'm just making sure.
Just a fan of the ocean.
He was just a fan
He
of the
just
ocean.
really liked the Little Mermaid.
But he loved the Little Mermaid.
I'm just saying, man, those shells, like, they could
It
have.
was incredible, right? So,
How they stay on her boobs?
how do they do it? It's magic. No, I used mermaid because he had watched a documentary basically pitching that mermaids could exist.
Is it the Animal
Oh.
Planet mockumentary?
The Discovery
I
one.
hope.
God,
Yeah,
I
that's what
hated
it
that
was.
shit.
But it was one of those. It was one of those like
Yeah.
that. But we've only discovered or explored like 3 or 4% of the ocean.
Yep.
And that was their argument for like any of this could potentially exist.
I mean, it's
I don't know it, so why couldn't it be real?
pretty
Well,
far-fetched argument.
Oh, it's a terrible
Doesn't
argument.
have little legs to stand on, but yeah.
But I've always loved that idea where it's like, well, we don't know shit about the ocean, so yeah, Atlantis, sure, Cthulhu, sure,
Why not?
We don't know about the
Mermaids?
ocean. It could have laptops down there.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably does. Let's be real.
and so that's what I always think of with a
Yeah.
sea mythos is potentially all of this could be real. I mean, probably not,
But who knows?
at this point, surely our sonar radars would have picked up something.
Good,
I
but
would-
don't
you
call
would
me
think.
Shirley.
Ah. And, like we didn't even touch on like the sunken city aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like obviously you've got like the Atlantean mythology,
Which is a whole other,
that's a whole pot of crazy right there.
it is.
And,
Absolutely.
recorded in like Greek history as having existed, then people trying to find it with their treasures and everything, and then like there's just so many mysterious things to it. Like like you have like the fucking Bermuda Triangle.
Yes, absolutely. The very concept of the sea, since our planet is primarily ocean,
Right.
it seems like just a fucking garbage pile of magic, weird folklore shit that you can just kind of throw at the ocean.
Yeah.
Because like the Bermuda Triangle wouldn't really work anywhere else.
Do you guys
Right.
feel like you heard so much about the Bermuda Triangle growing up? Like, I feel like every cartoon had something about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody
like
was like, it
90s.
flew into the Bermuda Triangle, and then, and like now, I have not heard anybody mention it in so long.
What's
Yeah.
up with that? Why?
Maybe it's boring now.
Maybe they're like, actually, there's no Bermuda
No,
Triangle.
I've got Google Earth. I can see it right there.
The
Like,
mystery of it.
having an idea that there's like a geographic region where like electronics don't work.
Yeah.
And that's like the pull of it is weird.
Ooh, yeah.
Your GPS doesn't function right.
And we have that. It's called West Virginia.
It's West Virginia. It's right there. That's right.
Anybody on the Sprint network
You hear me, Sprint?
coming for you.
Coming for you.
Oh, look at my phone. It must be the Bermuda Triangle. No, Dave, you're in Orlando and you're on Sprint.
Oh no! But yeah, I love the Bermuda Triangle. That whole thing. Because
Yeah.
you're right. They talked about it so much.
It's in like every cartoon.
Yeah,
and
where it's like, oh no, the characters flew into the Bermuda
"Oh,
Triangle.
weird things happen.
Ooh.
Ooh."
And
They
like, I
have
haven't
like
heard.
complete amnesia, like even things that are not typically ascribed to it. Like I feel like anybody, like you said, they threw anything at it, and
It's
we're just
the-
kind of like,
Yeah.
I mean, sure,
Sure.
we
Fucking
don't know.
Bermuda Triangle, man.
Yeah.
Like you know.
Bermuda
the-
shorts, I don't like them either.
I do like Bermuda shorts though. I get that.
I bet they'll
fashion
have a
choice.
resurgence in like a year or two.
I bet.
I'm waiting on that.
I think so.
I'm gonna dust those off and
Oh, yeah.
don them.
You know what's come back, and they've been back for about a year now, maybe 2 years, maybe
Jinko
more.
jeans.
God, if only.
saucy captain's hat as part of an ensemble.
Yes. Jean jackets.
I
jackets are
have
great.
one in the closet here.
Yeah.
I can't wait till it gets cold enough for me to wear it.
Right.
And it's Florida, so never.
I bought
never.
it on super sale.
Damn it. I gotta get a jean jacket.
Is that like when you go to Olive Garden? They're like, would you like soup or a sale?
Anyway,
I want both, Dustin.
I'll tell you when.
bring them out, Dustin. Yeah, Bermuda Triangle. You're right. That was everywhere all the time,
Yeah.
and now it's gone.
I don't know. It's like it's such a weird template for a story too. Like
It is.
because it's like it's equal parts unknown, known.
Yeah.
You know that there's dangers, but the dangers are unpredictable.
Yeah. It's just this God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God's bless you.
God's
Thank
bless you.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
I appreciate that more.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's just this great big mysterious blank canvas.
Yeah, like it can be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
It could be filled with adventure or fraught with disaster.
Yeah.
It's like where people go to become cannibals.
I want a movie that's Con Air meets National Treasure, where Nick Cage is flying into the Bermuda Triangle. We've got to find out what's in the triangle. There's something in there, and I know it. We're gonna find it.
It's pretty good Nicolas Cage.
Thanks. I'm sharing names, so I had to.
Yeah. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I get the appeal
Of
to
Nicolas
it.
Cage?
Yes, of Nicolas Cage.
He's
Plus,
such a rogue, you know.
Yeah.
get it. He's like he's a
Is he bald or
scoundrel.
not?
I don't know. He's getting there, maybe, but he's been
What?
getting there since
You know?
the 80s.
Yeah. What's
Like,
going on?
Shit or get off the pot, hair. Am I right? Like,
Yeah. So, yeah. See, sorry, go ahead.
I don't know.
Do you
I
have
was-
anything?
I was just going to add that, it's got a complex and complicated history with humanity because it's, equal parts dangerous as it is romantic
Yeah.
and useful as it is hostile.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's no surprise to me that it plays into mythology through its importance to, like the human experience. And then it also makes sense as a theme in literature.
Yeah.
Because it's a way that people have made a living for as long as we've been near it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
had boats or fishing nets or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get its place, but it's something that deeply terrifies me.
Absolutely.
I think that's like it's so reflected in so many. I mean, like huge sayings, and even now, like we still have people in contemporary time that talk about like this is not just something where it's like early people or even a couple hundred years ago. Like this is not relegated to them. Like it's something we still grapple with and talk about. You look at like Jacques Cousteau, the sea once it casts its spell holds one its net of wonder forever.
That's
And they're,
a
like, always
solid
wonderful
quote.
Yeah.
Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah.
And like he also had a really good quote, and I'm gonna paraphrase this, which is, "Some men love the sea, but I fuck the sea."
That's Euron Greyjoy.
Yeah.
I love it.
He says make love, but I
Oh,
thought
right. Yeah.
It's much more pirate to say it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's like one of our like most recognizable like modern explorers.
Yeah.
And exploring the places that we don't go. And I guess that's part of the whole experience with the sea is it's a place where we don't belong.
Yeah.
But we as humans, we go places where we don't belong.
Yeah.
Because
Like Washington, D.C.
Yeah. That's right.
like the places that are most inhospitable to us, there's just some call to
Yeah.
go see what's there.
Yeah. God damn it.
And I think that's the most human thing of all.
Yeah.
Which is the curiosity and the desire to see for yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you think that's why we have so many songs related to the sea?
Yeah. I think
That's got to
so.
be it.
Yeah.
Especially like sea shanties. I know, Brett, you're a huge fan.
Love them. They're
Yeah,
amazing.
they're
Makes
great.
me very thrilled to do work.
Yeah.
Like moving ropes and
Yeah.
bit of hard biscuit,
Tying knots. Oh, tied so many knots.
cutting the sleeves off my shirt and wearing my saucy captain's
Woo.
hat. Looking good.
Wearing a bandana
Bermuda shorts.
Tied around my neck.
tied around my neck. Keeps the sweat from touching the rest of my neck.
Strip of zinc right across my nose.
Just
living my best life.
that's
Blow the man down, huh, boys?
that's right.
Oh yeah. Oh man. We covered a lot.
I think we
really
did. Yeah,
sea.
I think we
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more to it, and I think that's kind of the best part about these episodes. It ends up being like a really good intro because like the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, there's so much more to like uncover.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
especially with like America in the sea.
Yes.
You know, being that we are from sea to shining sea.
That's right.
in our
Whoa.
basically national anthem.
That's that is very true.
Yeah. Any closing things that you wanted to add to this discussion?
Closing arguments.
Closing arguments: C, yay or nay?
One thumb up, one
Yep.
thumb down. One thumb up because God, there's so much to learn about it.
Yeah.
One thumb down because everybody has a problem with sharks.
Yeah,
That's just it's something real quick. I can give that plug. Sharks are not that deadly.
they're not.
Like
They're really
You
not.
have a lot more of a likely chance of getting like hit by a car, struck
Yep.
by lightning, anything else.
Jaws is a movie, folks.
Yep.
It's just a movie.
They're not that bad.
They're not that bad. That's what I would. I'd give one thumb up and another thumb up. Two thumbs
Two
up.
thumbs up to
good.
the sea.
C. Great
would
stuff. Would go. Would talk about going more than go.
9 out of 10 would go in the water.
Yeah.
One thumb up for storytelling aspect. One thumb down for actual doing
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Terrified of the sea.
Oh, it's absolutely.
I just ate and I don't want to have a cramp.
Yeah, I don't.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Here, I'll give you one of my favorite sea quotes from James Conrad. The sea has never been friendly to man. At most, it has been the accomplice of human restlessness.
Shit.
And I think that really encapsulates the feeling of exploration and adversarial relationship that we have to it.
Cautious reverence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you're not afraid of the sea, good luck because it's going to fucking kill you.
That's it. That's my favorite quote.
Yeah, that's an Irish one.
Yeah, that's right. All right, play us out.
All right, guys, if you like this one and want to hear more sea stuff, well, we've got more notes to come, and we'll probably do a second episode on this.
Yeah.
So if you like what we do here, please follow us on Apple Podcasts. Engage with us on our social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you extra like what we do and you want to talk to us after hours, feel free to join our Patreon. For the low price of $1, you get cool content. You can talk to the content creators. We've got some really dank memes and stupid shit that we talk about. So if y'all like that, come play with us in Discord. There's all sorts of weird stuff happening there.
And the more you give us, we've got some really cool little perks, like some maybe swag you can wear. Check it out on our Instagram. You'll get to see what it looks like, modeled in my own studio.
On my backpack.
Oh.
That's right. We are men of impeccable taste and limited means.
So please give us money.
Please, we're
But
so
if
poor.
not, it's okay. Honestly, just liking the show and talking about it with your friends, that is one of the coolest things you can do for us because that's how we spread. Like, word of mouth is the most priceless currency you can give us.
Exactly. If you like what we do and you have that one other weird friend that probably would like this, tell us or tell them about us.
Don't tell us about
Don't
them.
tell us about them.
We don't want to know.
friend named James. He's
My
pretty cool.
Yeah, I
He
think
loves
you guys would like him.
monsters.
He likes Monstars.
Monstars.
Like y'all.
That's for the Space Jam episode coming up.
Yes. Stay tuned. Space Jam coming up.
All right. Well, I think that'll about do it for the sea, y'all. So.
See you later.
See y'all later. Damn it, Nick.
Sorry. I couldn't resist.